At my baby shower, after laughing loudly that I was too stupid to be a mother, my sister tried to fix it by grabbing a mic and saying, "I only said that because I was jealous she had a baby first." I even thought about telling CPS she was on drugs just to get attention. The room fell dead silent. She covered her mouth as my husband pulled out a pre-filled cease and desist order, handed it to her and said, "You just made sure you'll never meet our child again." She collapsed into screaming hysterics as guests watched in horrified silence. Hi, I'm Callie, 31, from West Lafayette, Indiana. What I'm about to share still doesn't feel real sometimes. I was going to wait until after the baby came to post this, but I need to get it out now before it eats me alive. So, yeah, this is about my sister, Shauna, and how she made my baby shower a complete disaster. Let me back up. After years of trying and 3 miscarriages, I finally made it past 30 weeks pregnant. Our baby girl, Harper, was healthy and strong, and I was finally starting to breathe again. My husband, Brian, and I were just grateful. Every kick felt like a gift. I'd never been so happy and scared at the same time in my life. We wanted to do something small and sweet to celebrate. My best friend Tanya offered to host the shower at a local church hall. It was decorated beautifully. Soft pink balloons, white tablecloths, flower centerpieces. Nothing too fancy, just really thoughtful. There were about 30 people, family, close friends, Brian's coworkers, even some neighbors. Now, Shauna. She's my older sister by 4 years. We were close when we were kids, but everything changed after college. She bounced from job to job, guy to guy, always acting like she was above everything. She'd talk about how stupid it was to settle down, how people with kids were boring, and how she'd never trap herself like that. So when I got pregnant, she started acting weird. First it was the surprise gifts, stuff like a onesie that said "Born to be Fabulous" or a pacifier in the shape of red lips. Then she started showing up at my house without calling. Once she even told me she wanted to be in the delivery room with me, which I shut down fast. She got pissed, but I held my ground. That brings us to the baby shower. Everything was going fine at first. People were chatting, playing the silly games Tanya planned, eating cupcakes. I was opening gifts when Tanya grabbed the mic and said we were going to do a little memory moment. Basically, anyone who wanted could share a quick story or say something to the baby or to me. It was sweet, light-hearted stuff. My cousin told a story about me getting stuck in a laundry basket when we were kids. Brian's mom cried talking about how excited she was to be a grandma. Then Shauna stood up. I saw the look on her face, and my stomach dropped. It was that fake smile she uses when she's about to say something awful and pretend it's a joke. She walked up to the mic, looked around at the crowd, then laughed and said, "I just think it's wild how Callie's having a baby. I mean, this is the same girl who used to leave the stove on and lock herself out of her apartment. I always thought she was way too stupid to be a mom." She laughed. Loud. Like it was hilarious. There was no laughter in the room. People froze. My aunt gasped. Tanya's mouth actually fell open. Brian looked like someone had just hit him. I just sat there with my mouth closed, holding a tiny pair of baby booties. I felt like I'd been slapped. Shauna must have felt the tension shift, because she suddenly got nervous and started talking again. Okay, don't freak out. I didn't mean she's actually stupid, I was jealous, okay? I didn't think she'd be first. I mean, there was a minute I even thought about calling CPS and lying that she was on drugs or something, just to get some attention. But obviously I didn't do it. I thought about it. That's it. She laughed again. Dead silence. Every single person was just staring at her like she'd grown 2 heads. My mom put her hand over her mouth. Tanya looked like she was about to charge her. And Brian. He stood up from his seat and calmly walked over to Shauna. Without a word, he pulled a paper from the inside pocket of his jacket. It was folded in thirds. He unfolded it slowly and handed it to her. "Shauna," he said, loud and clear, "this is a cease and desist order. It's notarized, and it's been sitting in our file cabinet since the 2nd month of Callie's pregnancy. You don't speak to my wife. You don't contact us. You don't meet our child. Ever." She looked at the paper like it was on fire. Then she screamed, "I'm her sister. You can't do this to me." She dropped to the floor, literally dropped, and started sobbing and kicking her feet. "You're turning her against me. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it." Nobody moved. It was like time froze. Tanya finally walked over and whispered, "Let's get her out before this gets worse." Two of Brian's coworkers, big guys, helped lift her off the floor. She kept thrashing and yelling, "Callie, say something. I'm your sister." I stood there. I didn't say a word. My hands were shaking, and I could feel my baby girl kicking inside me. Once she was out of the building, everyone was just silent. People didn't even know where to look. Tanya finally stepped forward and said, "Well, let's open more gifts." But I didn't want to. I walked out of the room and into the hallway. Brian followed. I leaned against the wall and slid down to sit on the floor. "I don't think I can do this anymore," I whispered.
He sat beside me.
"We're done with her. She's out of our lives." But I knew better. Shauna wasn't done with me. Not by a long shot. And I wasn't done with her either. It didn't end at the baby shower. I wish it had. For a while, it got quiet. Too quiet. A few days passed with no texts, no calls. Even my mom, who usually takes Shauna's side in everything, didn't bring it up. I figured maybe they were all embarrassed.
Good.
They should be. Brian and I focused on getting ready for the baby. We had enough diapers to build a small castle. Her room was finally painted soft lavender. I was trying to move on, but deep down I knew Shauna wasn't gone. Then it started. It was a Friday. I was having lunch alone, grilled cheese and soup, sitting on the couch with my swollen ankles propped up. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, another buzz. Voicemail again. Then a text. "I know you hate me. Please just listen to the message. It's Shauna." I didn't want to. I really didn't. But something made me hit play. Her voice was shaking, but not like she was crying. It was more like forced emotion. "Callie, please."
I'm sorry. Okay.
I know I crossed a line. I wasn't thinking straight. I was jealous and drunk and stupid. But I didn't really mean it. "I'm your sister. I love you. I've been having a hard time, and seeing you happy just made me lose it.
Can we talk?
Just one coffee? I want to make things right before the baby comes." I deleted the message. The next day, my mom showed up unannounced. She brought a casserole and that fake calm voice she uses when she's about to guilt-trip me. "Callie, honey," she said, sitting across from me in the kitchen. "I know what Shauna said was wrong, but she's not well. You know she struggles. You don't have to let her back into your life, but she's family." I didn't say anything. She kept going. "She hasn't been eating. She's crying all the time. She said you blocked her." I did block her. "I know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think, maybe don't make this permanent. Maybe give her a chance to apologize in person." I stood up, slowly. My back hurt. Everything hurt. "She threatened to call CPS on me, Mom. You get that, right? That's not just a dumb comment. That's dangerous." My mom frowned but didn't answer. She just pulled the casserole out of her bag and put it on the counter. "Just think about it," she said. I didn't reply. I walked her to the door and locked it behind her. 3 days later, the revenge started. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet.
Creepy.
First, I noticed someone had left a 1-star review on Brian's dental office. Something about child endangerment and drug use in the home. It was taken down quickly, but not before 2 patients saw it and canceled appointments. Then one of my neighbors, sweet old Mrs. Hale, knocked on my door and said she'd gotten a call from someone claiming to be a friend of the family. They said they were worried about drug smells coming from our house. Mrs. Hale didn't believe it, but she thought I should know. That same night, Brian pulled out his home security camera footage. The motion sensor had been triggered at 3:12 a.m. A car we didn't recognize had parked across the street, lights off, engine running for 20 minutes. Then drove away. He looked at me and said, "We need to get ahead of this." We installed a full camera system. Front door,
Backyard,
nursery window, We even bought a Ring cam and a baby monitor with live streaming to my phone. A week later, a CPS worker actually showed up. It was a woman named Angie. She was polite, soft-spoken, and clearly uncomfortable. She told me she got an anonymous tip. Said the caller claimed I was abusing prescription pain pills and that there were unsafe materials in the nursery. I cried the entire time. Angie looked around the house, saw the baby room, the perfectly clean kitchen, the mountains of diapers. She apologized twice and said she'd be closing the case immediately. Brian asked her if we could trace the call. She said she'd check with her supervisor. After she left, I sat on the nursery floor and screamed into a pillow. Shauna had done it. She had actually tried to get my baby taken away. I told Brian, she wants to ruin me. She wants to see me lose everything. He nodded. Then we hit her where it hurts. He was already building a folder. Emails, texts, voice messages, the baby's shower recording. He found a lawyer. But I wanted more than legal revenge.
I wanted her to feel what I felt.
I had to be careful. But I knew how to hurt her. Shauna's weakness?
Her job.
Her image. She worked at a marketing firm in Indianapolis, always posting about her brand and her professional reputation. But I knew she'd been using a fake resume. I had proof from years ago, back when she applied for a management job and asked me to help fluff her experience. I found the copy she sent me. She lied about having a master's degree, lied about leading teams she'd never even worked with, lied about certifications she never got. And I still had the file. I stared at that resume file for a long time. It was in an old email from 5 years ago with a subject line. Can you check this for typos? Need it to look professional. Shauna never thought twice about sending it to me. Back then, I was the organized one. The one she'd call for help with things she thought were beneath her.
But now?
That file was my weapon. I knew the company she worked for, Brindle & Knox, mid-sized marketing agency in downtown Indianapolis. She'd posted about her new executive marketing director, titled just a few months ago. LinkedIn post, Instagram brag, even a tweet. I remember rolling my eyes at the time. Brian and I went over everything. He was nervous. Are you sure you want to do this? Once you pull the trigger, there's no going back. I looked at him and said, she tried to take my child away. That night, I created a burner email. New name, untraceable. I wrote a short, professional-sounding message. To whom it may concern, I believe an employee at your company may have used falsified credentials to obtain her current position. Please see the attached document, which includes a resume listing a master's degree and management history I believe to be fabricated. You may want to verify her qualifications directly with the institutions listed. A concerned former coworker, I attached the old resume. I hit send. Then I waited. 3 days later, Shauna posted a long, vague rant on Facebook. Something about jealous people trying to bring a powerful woman down and sabotage from fake friends. Comments were turned off. A day after that, Brian got a call from his friend Mark. He used to intern at Brindle & Knox before moving to a different firm. Dude, Mark said, did you hear about Shauna?
She's done. Fired.
Someone sent in a complaint with a copy of her resume, and they checked. None of it was real. She doesn't even have a degree. They're talking about pressing charges for fraud. I didn't smile. I didn't cheer. I sat down and felt something between relief and nausea. I was 34 weeks pregnant. I'd been holding everything together with tape and hope. I didn't want revenge to make me feel better. I wanted peace. But peace doesn't come easy when someone like Shauna is involved. 2 days later, she showed up at our door. Not ringing the bell. Banging. Brian was already halfway down the stairs when I called out, "Wait. Let me handle it." I opened the door. She looked like hell. Hair matted, face blotchy, wearing leggings and a hoodie that didn't look like hers. "You happy now?" she said, shaking. "You got me fired. I'm broke. I can't pay my rent. They said they might press charges. You ruined me." I stared at her. "You tried to ruin me first." I was angry, she shrieked. You always had it easy. The husband, the house, the baby. Everything just lands in your lap while I've had to fight for every scrap. And now you want to take the one thing I had left. No, I said. You burned it all down yourself. I just made sure people saw the smoke. She stepped forward. Brian opened the door wider behind me. Leave, he said. She looked at me one last time. You're gonna regret this. Someday that baby is going to ask why she doesn't have an aunt. And you'll have to lie, or tell her you destroyed your own family. I didn't blink. She'll know the truth. Every word of it. She turned and walked off, slow and limping, like the weight of her own bitterness was finally catching up. I thought it was over, but Shauna doesn't go down quiet. 2 weeks later, my mom called me crying. Shauna had checked into a mental health clinic under a fake name. She'd tried to overdose on sleeping pills. I should have felt something. Anything. But all I felt was tired. I sat on the nursery rocking chair, running my fingers over Harper's baby blanket, and whispered, I won't let her hurt us again. But deep down, I knew she'd try. When my mom called crying about Shauna's overdose, I didn't cry. I sat on the edge of the tub, phone in hand, and stared at the tile floor for a long time after she hung up. Shauna survived. They pumped her stomach, kept her on watch, then transferred her to a mental health facility in Bloomington. My mom kept calling me, trying to get me to visit her. Said Shauna was different now, remorseful. Finally facing things. But I knew better. Shauna was like a weed that grew back stronger every time you thought you'd yanked it from the ground. The only thing that changed now was that her self-destruction had finally caught up with her. I didn't cause it. I just stopped letting it destroy me too. Harper was born 2 weeks later. 7 pounds, 6 ounces.
Healthy. Pink. Perfect.
The minute I held her, I cried harder than I ever have in my life. All the fear, the betrayal, the pain, it all poured out of me. Brian held us both and whispered, She's safe now. You're safe now. We didn't tell anyone when we went into labor. Didn't post pictures. Didn't send out a birth announcement. For the first time in years, it was just ours. But peace didn't last long. 3 weeks later, my mom showed up at the door again. No call. No warning. I answered holding Harper, her tiny head resting on my chest. Can I come in? My mom asked. No, she looked tired. Gray roots showing. Wrinkles deeper than I remembered. Shauna's getting released next week. She wants to see the baby. Just once. I laughed. Actually laughed in her face. Is this a joke? She's not well, Callie. She's trying. She threatened my child, Mom. She lied to the government to try and have her taken away. She humiliated me in front of everyone I love. What part of that makes you think I'd ever put my daughter near her? She's your sister. I stepped outside and shut the door behind me so Harper wouldn't hear the yelling. No, I said. She's just someone who shares our blood. That's it. She shook her head, eyes welling up. You always thought you were better than her. There it was. The real reason. You always thought I should make room for her, I said quietly. Even when she stole from me in college. Even when she lied about that car accident. Even when she screamed in my face at my wedding. I was always supposed to forgive her, manage her. My mom didn't deny it. Just said, she's broken. I looked her dead in the eye. She breaks people on purpose. And I won't let her break Harper. That was the last time I saw my mom. She kept calling. I stopped answering. I sent a group text to extended family letting them know that Shauna was not allowed near Harper and that anyone who went behind my back would be cut off, no exceptions. Some respected it. Some didn't. Tanya told me Shauna had moved in with a friend out in Speedway and was working at a call center. No more marketing. No more fancy job titles. Just a headset and a stack of scripts.
Good.
I wasn't proud of what I did. But I didn't regret it either. Months passed. Harper learned to crawl. Brian and I fell into a rhythm. Life got soft again. Then one day, an envelope came in the mail with no return address. Inside was a picture of me in the hospital bed, holding Harper. Taken through the window. On the back, someone had written in red marker, You won't keep her from me forever. I stared at it for a long time. My stomach dropped into my knees. Brian called the police. They opened a report, but said it could have been anyone.
No fingerprints.
No proof it was Shauna. But we both knew. We moved. Changed numbers. Got a P.O. box. Brian added another camera system. We even got a German Shepherd. Harper calls her Muff. I don't sleep great. I jump at shadows. But Harper laughs in her sleep, and that sound is stronger than any fear I have. I don't know where Shauna is now. Maybe she's still watching. Maybe she gave up. Maybe she's waiting. But I'm ready. Because the truth is, I stopped playing nice. I stopped believing family meant you had to forgive everything. And I finally chose peace, even if it meant war first.